Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. Today, I'm covering selling authentically and selling in a way that feels good as a coach. Selling is one of those things that most people feel certain emotions about. That selling feels sleazy, that selling feels pushy, and they don't want to sell. But let's face it, if you can't sell and you can't sell in a way that feels good, you are not going to have a successful business or a business that you enjoy, because selling is a vital part of your business and you can't sign clients, you can't make an impact, you can't help people without selling your offers and selling your coaching programs. So it's really important to make it a focus in your business to understand your strategy behind how you go about it and how you want to do it, and to develop a way that feels good to you, that you feel confident doing, that you feel like you're doing it with integrity, that you're doing it with authenticity, and you feel good about it and you look forward to it. Which for some people, that concept is so far from their imagination, like feeling good selling. But once you get to that point and once you can start approaching selling in a different way and you can find a way that feels really good for you, it's going to be a complete game changer in your coaching business. So if you're well established in your coaching business, but you know selling is something that you need to focus on, or you're right at the beginning and you haven't really given much thought yet to how you feel about selling, and maybe in listening to this, you're having the realization that you do have some thoughts around it, some existing beliefs that you might need to shift a bit, then I think this episode is going to be really helpful to get you thinking in a different way and get you approaching selling as a service and also developing your way of doing it so that it feels really good to you. Now, to start off talking about this subject, I want to talk about the idea of a sales funnel. So if you haven't heard about this before, this is the way you are funneling people down from the point where they first hear about you, when they first become aware of you and who you are and what you do, to eventually becoming a client. Now, obviously, not every single person that hears about your business will become a client. And that's why it's a funnel, because you need to capture lots of people into the top of that funnel. And if you imagine it like a funnel that you pour, if you're pouring something into a bottle and you stick a plastic funnel in it and pour things in, you want to picture it like that. So the top of it is the widest point, and that's where you're trying to capture as many people as possible to get them aware about your business, the right people, your ideal clients, and then eventually filter them down to that pointy end at the bottom where a few of those people that have become aware of you are becoming clients. And the journey that people need to go through as they're traveling through that funnel is at the very top. They don't know who you are, they don't know what you do, and they're walking around with a problem. So at the top of that funnel, you need to be talking to their problems, talking to their desires, and making them aware of who you are and what you do, and that you are there to help them with this problem or to help them achieve this desire. That's the top of funnel. And then as you're bringing them down, this is where you want to nurture your potential clients to grow the trust they have in you, to get to know you, to get to like you and understand the solution that you're providing. So this is where you're nurturing your clients and you're creating content, you're having conversations, you're providing valuable resources to help them understand who you are, what you do, what your process is, and why they should trust you and what you're all about, so that they can get to know, like, and trust you. And then you want to be making offers and telling them about your program and inviting them in. And that inviting them in and having that conversation where you're making the sale, that's the sales part. And then once you get yeses, at that point, people have become your client. What a lot of coaches will do is spend all of their time focusing on the top and the middle of the funnel, providing lots of value, creating lots of social media content, creating freebies, providing loads of value, but barely ever making the offer and making the sale and going through that part of actually inviting people to become clients, not focusing enough on that part of the funnel. They're very focused on the top and the middle and not focused on that bottom section enough. So that's the first thing to avoid, to make sure that you are thinking about that section where you're making an offer. Now, that can happen in a number of different ways. That can happen when you are specifically talking about your offer on social media and you're actually including a link to buy. And you're actually telling people in your content, buy here, this is what you're paying for, this is what you get. It could be in an email. So if someone has signed up to your email list and you're delivering them a series of emails and then you send them an email telling them specifically what the offer is and asking them to buy. It could be on a webinar where you're giving them some kind of masterclass training. And then at the end of it, you're telling them about the offer and again, having the call to action to buy. Or it could be through a discovery call and having a one-on-one conversation, either in person or online with someone where you're at the end of that, again, you are inviting them to make that purchase and to sign up for your program. Now, what I would recommend to coaches who are just starting out is to focus on that last one, to focus on having a one-on-one conversation with people, because that's where you're going to learn the most about your clients and what they want to know and what they need to know to be ready to buy. It's going to allow you to make connection with people who are interested quickly and, the most efficient way of making a connection with them. It's going to allow them to get all their questions answered. So it's a really valuable process for you to go through for your learning, for your experience of selling, for you to get direct input and feedback on what's working and what's not. And you will learn the quickest in having those one-on-one conversations with people about your offer. I've been seeing quite a lot of content popping up on my Instagram recently, which maybe it's my algorithm. I don't know if you're seeing it as well, but I'm seeing a few people who have ads going aimed at coaches talking about why I stopped doing discovery calls. And they're obviously selling some kind of process on how to make sales in your business without using discovery calls and talking very negatively about, they were so draining doing discovery calls and I get no shows and this and that. And I can see why that might be appealing to people, because I think we all do shy away from this process of selling and thinking, if I could do it in a more automated way or it can just be happening behind the scenes, that would be amazing. But the problem is, until you've gone through that process of selling one-on-one to people, you won't have as much success trying to do it in a more hands-off way, because you won't have those learnings. You won't understand exactly what people need to know, what questions that you keep getting asked all the time, the things that people are having objections about that you need to help them overcome through that conversation. You're probably still going to be developing your offer in some way, and those learnings are going to help you with that. I think it's really important to focus on those one-on-one conversations in the early days. I have clients doing it in a couple of different ways. Some are offering a free discovery call to then talk about a bigger program. And some have taken this sort of first step of the bigger program and created a small offer out of that, which I do as well. I offer one-off sessions with people, and I have clients who are doing that as well and offering some kind of a consult prior to working with them longer term. And the way that works is if you can really offer some kind of transformation within that initial consult, so there is an outcome, and you are obviously spending the majority of that consult giving them value and solving an initial problem for them, and then inviting them to coach with you for a longer container after that. But again, you're able to grow, know, like, and trust with your clients because you're providing that smaller offer first, which is easier for people to say yes to before they've gotten to know you properly. Otherwise, you can offer that as a free session where you might not be giving quite so much value, but you still want to be giving some value and you still want to be approaching that discovery call in a value-based way. But it's more about showing people the process and showing them the sort of the plan that you'd have for them and how you take them through the wider transformation. If they're not getting a specific outcome from that initial conversation, then I would make it a free discovery call. And in doing that, you can approach selling as a value-based conversation, that you're having a one-on-one conversation, whether you're doing it as that low-cost consult or you're doing it as a free discovery call. they are walking away with knowledge they didn't have before, with an understanding of how they can solve this painful problem that they're walking away with. And so instead of feeling like, oh, I'm being pushy, I'm being sleazy as a salesperson, approach it as I'm providing real value to this person because I'm showing them a way to solve the painful problem they're experiencing and reach a desire that they really want. And that's a service. Even if they don't end up working with you afterwards, you've given them some clarity around how they could solve this problem. So when you're approaching it in that way, you're going to feel so much better about it, feel confident. You are selling as a service. Then your strategy for your other top of funnel and middle of funnel stuff is to funnel people into being ready to book that call with you. So again, depending on whether you're offering it as a free call, free discovery call, or an initial lower cost consult, you can think about what those calls to action are in the rest of your content that you're inviting people to that next step. And then you want to think about how you're structuring those calls. So obviously, if someone's paid to go on an initial consult with you, you've already done some selling in the lead up to that in order to get them to be ready to buy for that consult. So you're going to be talking about what that consult involves, or you're going to be talking about what they'll get from that discovery call. So that's how you want to approach that top middle funnel. Awareness, then connection, shifting their mind around how to solve their problem, and then explaining how you can help them with the next step, either on a discovery call or in consult. And making sure you're describing your offers, making sure you're talking about what your offer does, what it involves, so that people have a clear understanding of who you are, what you do, and what you have to offer before they're booking one of those calls. People aren't mind readers. They need to be told. And you need to make sure you're including all of that in your content and having that strategy around bringing them down that funnel. And of course, you're going to have other resources that help you with that. They might have visited a sales page that talks about your offer prior to booking that call. So they've got some information about your offer before they're talking to you. But the call is really about getting their questions answered, them understanding how the framework of your offer relates to them and their problems. So it's not a one size fits all on that call. It's not about having a script that you just reel off. It's about understanding that particular client's problems, how that problem is manifesting for them, what they're really interested in, what it means to them to solve that problem, and then talking around your offer in relation to that person. So picking out the parts of your process, the parts of your framework that are really going to help this specific person and overcoming their objections. So it's a very personalized way of doing it. And this is going to help you to make that connection really quickly with your ideal client, help them to make that decision in the best way for them, give them all the information they need to make an informed decision. And again, that's how you want to be approaching it. It's not about giving them all this information and trying to force them to say yes. You're giving them all the information to allow them to make the decision that's right for them. So that's another really important thing about your sales process, is to not get too attached to the outcome, to approach that process as a service, to approach it in a way that you're giving them everything they need to make the right decision for them, and be detached from the outcome. And that's going to give you the right energy when you're having these conversations as well. You don't want to be bringing the desperate energy of I need it, yes. The energy should be I'm giving you everything you need and I'm here to support you to make the right decision for you. And all those mindset shifts are going to help you to approach selling in a really authentic and confident, enjoyable way where you feel good about it. So I hope that's helped to shift your mindset around the connotations of selling as something sleazy and see it as a way to really provide a service to your potential clients. And I hope that you can see through what I've been talking about the real importance in understanding the transformation you're bringing to your clients, really focusing on that outcome that you're bringing to them at the end and that value you're bringing through the process in taking them from where they are now, the place they don't want to be, to a desired state that they, a place they want to be, whatever that transformation is that your program provides and facilitates. When you're really clear on that and when you really understand what it means to your ideal client and all the things that they might have concerns about, worries about, you can then overcome those things in that conversation. Not in a way that you're trying to trick them or deceive them in any way. This is all about integrity and facilitating them to be able to make this decision that's right for them. That's the way you want to be approaching it. And that's why you want to get really clear on what the transformation is and really use these conversations as a way to connect, and learn from your ideal clients and get to know them and understand them even better. Be able to bring all those learnings into your business in the top of funnel content you're creating, the middle of funnel content you're creating, offers you're creating, everything. Like the deeper understanding you have of your ideal clients, the more you learn about them, the more everything in your business is going to improve to serve those people in the best way possible. Always in alignment with you and the way you want to work, as is always my approach. But I hope that helps you to see these one-on-one sales conversations, discovery conversations as a really valuable process to go through for you, for your ideal client, that they will walk away feeling out of a place of indecision and into a place of decision. Whether that decision was a yes or a no, of course, we're hoping that the majority of the time you're getting a yes from those calls, or those people are coming back to you at a later date, ready to buy because they've had this connection with you and they've had this one-on-one conversation with you. But whether they decide yes or they decide no on that call, they are in a better place than indecision. And that's a good thing for them. So again, really see it as a service, really see it as providing value, see it as a way to learn and connect and embrace it and feel excited about having those conversations and what you'll learn from them, the connection that you'll make with your ideal client and the transformation that you can give them in just having that sales conversation with you. I hope that helps to shift your mindset around selling. It's a big hurdle that can get in the way for a lot of coaches because, as I said at the beginning, a lot of people aren't focusing enough on that bottom of funnel. And the main reason of that is because of the mindset and the feeling around selling. So I hope this helps to shift your mindset a bit and to see it in a different way so that you can approach it and start incorporating it a lot more into your business. Feel that you can approach selling from a place that feels good, but also much more regularly and much more consistently in your business so that you have the opportunity to make sales every day. Once you've got your offer clear, once you've got your transformation clear, once you've got your messaging clear, this is the next step that you really want to be focused on. So as always, if you want to have a chat with me one-on-one about that, please book a call. We can go through this process together and I can talk you through the steps that are going to get you to this stage as quickly as possible. I'll include the link to that in the show notes. Have a great week and I'll speak to you soon.